for Female Business Society here is to provide a place of support and guidance. And lots of people said they wanted to meet people like you, Raechel, and for everybody to meet each other and create that connection and create a network of like-minded women. At the moment, I really feel that our priority has to be looking after our health. That's definitely the most important thing, health and well-being. You know, we're only allowed out once a day. We're feeling very confined, isolation and all that sort of stuff. So I think really now is our time to get those foundations in place, think about our core values, and get a really good head start. So I'm going to go into my interview mode. Raechel Waugh.
Hello, Hetty. How are you?
Hello. Raechel Waugh is the founder of RW Language Solutions. I've known Raechel for, how many years? 12 years?
Oh, 12,
10,
yeah.
12 years.
Yeah, 10, 12 years. Blimey.
Yes, yes. So Raechel is a very inspirational business owner. I've seen her go from one transition to another. It's been really exciting 3 years for you. So do you want to tell us a quick thing tell us about yourself and your background?
Right. Okay, well, I left school when I was 17 and started working, and then I did my A-levels at night school, and then went back to university. Came to university in France, then went back to England and decided to finish my degree in languages and linguistics. And that's where I found that I was going to be a teacher because I did TEFL. And I also did, like I said, linguistic training, particularly in second language acquisition. And I became a teacher 20 years ago, worked in England, worked in Japan, worked in France for 17 years, coaching and teaching for different companies. And then 3 years ago, I decided I wanted to change. The company I was working for was setting up bulk standard programs, which was unfortunate because the clients were clearly saying that they wanted personalized training according to the needs of each person. And so I decided to take a break from there and set up my own business, which was a bit scary because I was nearly 50.
Any time is a good time, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that
when you're meant to be ready.
And I think when you're ready, you're ready. And whatever your age, whether you're 16 or 60. And it was the best thing I ever did.
Oh, fantastic. So you live near Tours?
I do, yeah. I live near Amboise, between Amboise and Tours, in a tiny village.
Lovely. And so do you want to tell people what the situation is at the moment, because you're a bit further ahead? How long have you been in isolation? How's it going? How are you coping?
Day 21 today, which means we're entering our 4th week of confinement. We can't go out without having a special attestation. We have to fill in every time we go out. So we have to put our name, our date of birth, where we were born, the time we're going out, and what we're going out for. So that means we can go to work if we can't work from home. We can go to work if we are working for the NHS, the equivalent of the NHS, etc. You can go out to buy absolute necessities. That's a very broad thing, though, because people are still going out to buy their baguettes and their cigarettes.
Necessity.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go out to see the doctor if it's absolutely necessary. You can go out, as in my case, because I'm divorced, so my son goes to see his father every 2 weeks, and they're allowed to do that. Mm-hmm. You can go out for a funeral, but only 20 people are allowed to go to funerals at the moment, which has been particularly disturbing for certain families. I lost a friend last week, and so only 20 people are allowed to go to their funeral. And you're allowed to exercise for 1 hour a day, but you can only go out with a member of your family that you can find with. So I can go out with my son, but you couldn't go out with your neighbours. and you have to respect distance, and you still have to have this form wherever you go and your passport to prove who you are.
Interesting. So in terms of your work, how have you had to adopt new technology? How are you getting in touch, keeping in touch with your students?
You know me in technology, but yeah, so this has been a steep learning curve. So obviously most of the time I do face-to-face training, but at the moment we're doing telephone video conferences, so Zoom. Yes, I've used Zoom, Teams. But unfortunately, at the moment, most of my clients, they're forcing their workforce, they're being obliged to make them take holiday. So obviously, a lot of people are dropping out, and we made a decision. I've talked to all of my clients by telephone, and they asked me to maintain if the people want to maintain, and if they don't want to maintain, especially in this environment, because the first 2 weeks were extremely difficult to manage psychologically. People weren't sure what was going on. So I've had to take that into account as well, you know, trying not to panic about my business, obviously, but but trying to maintain contact as much as I can with the people that want to continue. So I've been focusing more on the administrative side, because I don't know if you all know, but in France, paperwork is an absolute nightmare. And you need to update every year. So I've been focusing on that, looking at new technology, because I'm not, you know me, I'm not very technologically, I'm a bit stunted on that one.
I think it's good to look at your administrative.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, darling.
It's a good time to concentrate on your
admin, sorting out. I mean, I do my accounting every month, but there's lots and lots of other things. Researching, because obviously a part of my job is doing research and looking at different technologies, different ways of training, different opportunities, looking at each learner and seeing where their problematics lie and how I can. It's a moment to be creative, which is great. Case by case. So looking at how to help people move forward after this is all over.
Yep, definitely. So how do you feel? So let's talk about a bit about your business, your passion, and you have a very unique way of living your business.
Well, that really came from disruptive marketing and looking at different ways of marketing what I do and offering a unique selling point, obviously. And as I said, I in my 20 odd years of experience, I found that sitting in a classroom with a whiteboard and at a desk using a book does not help people communicate better, whether that be in English or any other language. I literally fell into teaching, as I said in my little blurb thing that I sent you, because I come from a long line of teachers, mum, grandma, granddad, auntie, and I always said, no, I'll never be a teacher. And then when I was at university and I started doing the second language acquisition and linguistics and TEFL, I just found that I loved it. And I love people, I love to help them. As I said as well, I learn something from them every day too. So it's a real exchange. And I looked at creating a positive environment in which to learn, because in France, they're very strict and very rigid in their education system and their curriculum. And language, the way they teach languages is very static, and it's all about lists of irregular verbs and identifying words in a sentence.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
hard.
It's not communicative, and people, so then they get this kind of, I have to be perfect and I have to speak perfect English, etc., etc. So they've got a really good infrastructure. They've done kind of between 8 and 12 years of English training, but they won't actually speak in a meeting. So I had to get some ideas about how we can free up their communication. And I many years ago, I was doing a special workshop, and we were out and about. We were doing a treasure hunt, in fact, with English clues. And somebody who was particularly reticent and very not very forthcoming, because we were walking, he wasn't thinking about the content and how about it being perfect. He was just walking along and he started communicating with us. And I just thought, there's something in this. So I looked at how I could incorporate that into my professional life. And it was a bit frowned upon by my old company. And visiting things. Pardon?
Forward thinking.
Forward thinking, yeah, absolutely. You've got to be forward thinking.
I'm just going to share the screen so that people can get a little idea.
Yeah, that's us out and about with Didier and Pascal and Laurent and Mustafa. Yeah. I thought that's Michael, yeah. So what I tend to do is take people out and about. There's obviously a structure to it. Not that everybody sees that straight away, but anybody who's worked with me for a few weeks realize that it isn't just improvised. And we can go out and we can prepare WebExes, we can prepare presentations, we can prepare negotiations, but you can do that while you're out and about and walking and talking. Obviously, when we come back, we concretize stuff. People write stuff down. They send me an email of a summary of what they've done during the session. And I encourage them to identify where their problems lay and to try and identify why they had that problem. So it could be they didn't feel like speaking because they were nervous because there was another person in the group. It could be that they're listening. After 2 hours, that diminishes, which is normal because the level of concentration they need. So when we're out and about, so walking and talking, for an example, they relax. Yeah. And you find, and so it helps they build their concentration because they are relaxed and it's a positive environment. You know, French society has a very negative approach to reinforcement. They're more into negative reinforcement than in positive. So I try and create a positive environment that they can take away with them. And if they can do it with me, they can do it.
You can see that from your marketing. You can see people are relaxed, they're enjoying it. Yeah, it's so good to see that. It's just a totally unique approach.
Well, they're involved. It's their program, and I base that. They're at the center of the training. That means that very concretely at the beginning of their training, I meet them, I meet their manager, and I meet the training manager of the company they work for. So I've got this holistic 360-degree view of what's expected, which can sometimes mean they don't realize that I know what their manager's long-term plans are for them. And I'm really heavily involved in those decisions. And if I feel that there isn't a real project, for example, somebody isn't going to be using English, there's no point from my financial or time investment. It's not strategic. It's not strategically useful for the department or for the company. I'm not going to do it because the person isn't motivated either.
No.
So that's really important. So at the beginning, I meet them, I write a report, I meet them again, and we put in place concrete and achievable objectives for their program, which we use as a benchmarking system for their 60-hour or 100-hour or 40-hour program. And then at the end, we meet again, and we benchmark where they are with their objectives and whether they need to continue with training or start or perhaps come back later for workshops. So it's structured, but, but it's
a unique way of doing it, though. I like it. I also saw just here a little picture of your studio.
Oh, yes.
So Raechel is also a voiceover artist.
I am, yes.
Yeah, you enjoy that.
My voice. I love doing that, yes.
Yeah, and that's in French? Always in French? For French companies?
It's for French companies, but I only speak in English. So I work primarily at the moment for Air France.
Yes.
So if you call Air France and ask for a service in English, it's my voice everywhere in the world, apart from the United Arab Emirates, because they wanted a name.
That's great.
But I don't just work for them. I do adverts, I do promotional videos, I do instructive videos. I've worked for I once did one for Botox injections for doctors, which was a bit difficult.
Really?
Yeah. But that's
when it comes to this.
I know. Unfortunately, you have to be very careful with your voice, and it's a real job. That is, it's a real professional. It's not easy.
No, I can imagine. No, I've got a couple of friends do it, and I just think, yeah, my hat's off to you.
It can be quite hilarious sometimes with some of the outtakes, but luckily he hasn't put them on YouTube yet.
So let's talk about what drove you to take that leap of faith to go from, like, you were employed for 17 years and going to being your own boss. What was that? What was that like?
I'm a risk taker. I'm a risk taker. I have to say that, but they're calculated risks.
Yeah,
it was something I've been toying with for a long time, because I really, like I said, I was trying to introduce my methodology, and they were imposing a methodology on me, and I was the training manager of the company, so I trained all their teachers, and I just wanted to try and do something for myself, and I just thought, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. I love what I do, and I've got some really positive feedback from my clients about what I was doing, and I just felt it was time to move on. My company was taking a direction which, like I said, was set programs, and that's not how I envisage teaching or training at all. I think that you have to adapt, like I said, to the person. And so I was surrounded sometimes by negative people who tried to say, God, you're nearly 50. You need to think about, you're not very good at accounting, and you're not always very organized. In fact, it wasn't true. I was organized, but my way. If I could give one piece of advice, if you're not sure how to do something, pay somebody else to do it if you can afford it, or find out how to do it yourself. Don't try and do everything yourself.
That's a really
it is,
yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask.
We've all been guilty of spending hours trying to learn something new when you could have actually just paid someone to do it in an hour.
Yeah, and focus on what you're good at doing and what you enjoy doing. It's like working for any kind of business. Also, surround yourself with people who are objective and constructive. So they don't always have the same opinion, and they don't always agree with what you're saying, and they're going to counterbalance. I'm a big brainstormer, and I'll keep, I've got all these ideas, and I throw them down on paper, and I need somebody to counterbalance that kind of to structure it. And but also surround yourself with people. I had one person in particular, or several people, but one person that sticks in my mind that I've known for a very long time, who was so positive and so encouraging, and just saying, just beep, beep, just do it.
Yeah, good.
And I think that that's really important, because if you don't try it, you don't know. And even if you don't succeed, you'll find something else to do, and you'll never figure yourself if you haven't tried. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, definitely. It has been driven by passion. So
yeah, and it is my passion. It really, really is my passion, and that's what motivates me and gets me out of bed every day, because I do, honestly, and I know it sounds twee, I get out of bed with a big smile on my face, and I meet some fantastic people. And who teach me. I learn as much from them as they do from me, and that's another thing. Stay humble. You might be an expert in your field, but somebody else will know more than you. Learn from them, and don't think that you know it all. Everything's a learning curve. You learn something every day. And I was going to say something else, but I can't remember.
You can't get more rewarding than that, really, can you?
No, you can't. No.
How I feel about female business startups is all the people that I've met. I give out, but what I get back is in equal measures, if not more. So that's so rewarding.
That's more than the money sometimes.
So what's your vision moving forwards?
My vision moving forward is to be
isolation.
Sorry?
Apart from no isolation.
No isolation would be good.
That'd be a very good thing.
I'm to have more clients, because at the moment my biggest client is 85% of my business, so I need to be It's a very loyal client, and that's extremely important. One of the main things I would say is to keep your clientele loyal, and to never take it for granted that your customer will stay your customer. However, having said that, doesn't mean to say you can't say no sometimes too. And I think that's so liberating when you've got your own. Really important.
That's probably one of the biggest lessons to learn.
Yeah, we've talked about this, haven't we? People who try and get freebies, and you have to know which people you can give freebies to and which people are taking the mic off.
Yes, very well put.
Yeah.
So, on a day-to-day basis, what advice would you give to people who are watching? What would you say to them about long-term sustainability and keeping self-motivated?
Hello. So sorry. Hello. That was very French.
Hello.
Keeping self-motivated. Stay in touch. This group is fantastic, motivating people and asking questions and not isolating yourself. Because sometimes when we're working from home, I'm in my office downstairs. You don't see anybody, perhaps. Is to talk to people. Stay healthy. You know, I 3 years ago I started walking. It helps me. It helps me focus mentally. It helps me physically. So try and do exercise. Be healthy, but have some fun as well. Don't take yourself too seriously.
No, good point.
Yeah. Have a plan, and if it fails, don't worry about it. There's always a solution. What else can I say? I'm pretty good at self-motivating myself. I've got people around me who are very positive, and getting positive feedback from my clients is very motivating as well, obviously. And don't hesitate to ask. I mean, I have a system in place at the end of every training session. I send I can't think of the English word. I send a form where they give me feedback.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so that helps as well. So you think, okay, that didn't work with that person, or that person.
Constructive feedback.
Constructive, always constructive.
Yeah.
And feedback as well from the training managers, because obviously they get echoes, and from the managers. And write it down and keep those things. And I also tend to have, I've got a little notebook. It's actually upstairs at the moment. It's pink. And I have it by my side all the time to write things down when I get a new idea. Or, and again, surround yourself with positive people you can phone up and kind of brainstorm with as well. You know, well, what do you think about this, and what should I have done there? And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, definitely. Good points. Very, very good points. Always ask for help. I think there's friends, there's colleagues, there's people that you can just reach out to, or even family, and just say, what do you think of this? Or just bouncing some ideas around.
Sometimes you just need to bounce an idea and go, is that crazy? Or
do you ever go to any networking in front? Are you in your area? Is there like a local network that you can tap into?
There are local networking things like BNI and things like that. I went to a BNI and I found it was a little bit culty. I'm very lucky that I work in a field which is quite closed in the training world. I mean, so I've managed to build up a network because I've worked with so many different companies, from Dior to Valio to SKF to John Deere, Pfizer, Master Foods. So I've worked with a lot of clients, and they talk amongst themselves. And I think if you're giving a quality service, they talk to each other. And I know a lot of training managers as well. So they talk when they're in their events. I try and create some events. I've done some wine tasting things as well with clients. To be quite honest, the BNI and those kind of events were not necessarily adapted to my type of business. So most of my marketing is my Facebook page. I'm not very good at LinkedIn, but we've talked about that.
We'll get on to that one another time.
Yeah. And
I think what I love about your marketing is actually, it's exactly as you said, and you stuck to your principles right from the beginning, that you were only going to give an essence. So it's all about the people, it's all about the students, and the things that you're doing is out and about. It just gives a taster, and it gives an gives an essence of what it is that you do and how you deliver. And I think you've stuck to that. So I think, you definitely wanted to stick to the plan you have.
Stay true to what you really wanted. Listen to your gut feeling, and don't try and be swayed from that by a client, even if you think it's going to make you money, because you don't want to sell your soul.
No.
That's happened to me with a client that I know is not very ethical, and I didn't work with them.
Okay.
That's my personal feeling.
Right, I've got one last question.
Okay, hit me with it.
Here it is. What do you feel people could be doing during the time of pandemic, that would put them in the best possible position for when, because I've got a feeling it's going to be a bit like a horse race. Once that thing is down, we're going to be like, right, business is back and I want to be first. And
absolutely. But I think pacing ourselves, because I know that my clients are building up, and I'm looking at my planning and, oh my God, when am I going to fit them all in? How am I going to manage it? So prepare yourself for that kind of massive onslaught, but I wouldn't panic either, and try and do it slowly, catching monkey, and not exhaust yourselves or exhaust ourselves by trying to run after the train. I mean, I'm lucky in the fact that my business can manage for a few months yet, but try not to panic. Try and get yourself feeling fit enough as well, if you're not fit, to be ready for that when it happens. As I said, administration, try and do the administration. And I've been doing more marketing research about clients I can target, and now I've got the time to actually get in contact with them if they're on the premises, obviously, or clearly identifying where I want them.
You can drop me an email and just seeing how your clients are. They how you doing.
And also, I think most of us are mums. Some of us are single mums as well. Don't forget the importance of your family, and that, nothing, not your business or all the money in the world is as important as looking after yourself and your children and your family.
It's so true. It's priority right now, and for when we get back, because this has been a massive such a big transition for everyone to try and get used to, and it's not a natural state to 1 minute all be living apart and getting busy and having structure, and then suddenly
everything's gone to pot.
And
it will, and roll with the fact that morally and psychologically sometimes it's going to be hard, and it is hard. Sometimes you wake up and you don't want to get out of your pajamas and put your makeup on, and roll with that. That's not a bad thing, as long as it's not every day. But next day, try and get up, get in the shower, put your makeup on, and give yourself a little razzle dazzle, and try and do something positive. Definitely. Kids in your family, and quality time. And try not to force the issue too much.
I love that. Give yourself some razzle dazzle.
Give yourself some razzle dazzle, babe.
Definitely.
Remember, you've always got a bit of razzle dazzle. Don't lose it, ladies. Don't lose it. Because we're 4 weeks in nearly, and it is not easy, and you've got a tendency to go, oh, I will go out, but please stay at home as well, please, because we're reaching the peak at the moment, and people are starting to just stop being very what's the word? Yeah, and thinking it's okay to go out. It's not okay to go out. But and hopefully when you can all meet, you can all come over to France when it's all over. Business.
Yeah, one of those wine tours.
Yeah, got a wine tour.
Female Business Society on wine tour. Right.
Could be fun. Could be messy.
It could be. Right, I'm going to say thank you so much, Raechel, for being my first interviewee.
I hope I haven't bored you.
Very people coming in and out. If you're watching us on replay, please do #replay and make any comments. If you've got any questions for Raechel, put them down there, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer.
I will, and thank you for giving me the opportunity, Hetty.
It's okay. Have a great rest of your week.
Enjoy. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.